I believe that people that is being stagnant in life and doesn't want to change anything on their lives are the people that is insecure, the people that there's no spark in them that wants to have a purpose in life. That's why they are just stuck from their bad habits that happened from years ago, and they're still doing that right now. They don't want to help themselves to get out of it and actually step into the timeline of themselves where they need to heal from those, and they have to know their identity in order for them to be successful. Because success isn't just, oh yeah, I just want to think, I want to reach this. You are so motivated the first day of you thinking this, and then the next day you're back again from the bad habits that you've formed within the past years of your life. In my personal life, the reason why I became so stagnant and feel like I don't want to change something in my life is because I'm blaming other people of what happened to me. That's why I didn't have this accountability on myself that I need to change my life, because they've already are the ones that written my story. They are the ones already written my identity. And that's wrong. That is a false belief. The reason why you don't want to change your life is because you have this identity in yourself that may be formed in the early stages of your life, and then believe those things, and right now you're still making that as an identity on yourself. That's why you don't change. Maybe it's from the family, maybe it's from your friends, maybe it's from the people that all they want is to destroy. But you gotta know that the reason why you cannot change those identity that has built around you from the early stages of your life is because right now, as this current version of yourself, you're not being accountable for changing it. And it seems like everybody moved on. Everybody moved on from those things that have hurt you, but it's still haunting you until this day. And I've been in there. Sometimes I'm still struggling with those. But you gotta change. You gotta change your identity. If you don't like your identity right now, if you feel like there's a lack of reaching your full potential because you are being held back from the past version of who you are, from the guiltiness of what have happened to you in the past years of your life, then this video is for you. There is a guide steps on reaching success, from you being a nobody that is just trying to figure out life, to you building the foundations of to have that achievable mindset of you to actually reach the goals that you've been wanting, and for you to take an actionable steps and then reaching success. Nobody in this world just had this overnight success because they take an action in just one day. Nobody did. Even me right now. I wanna give you the tip, and I actually want to coach people with this. I want to help them to the point that they will understand and observe in themselves the things that they don't want to keep their identity, some traits in themselves that they don't want to put in themselves anymore for them to reach their goals, for them to have an actual success in your life. No matter what path you want to take, you have this dream career in your life, or you want to have this certain relationships, or you just want to build a healthy lifestyle, everything comes in your mind first. And a lot of people are sleeping with this because they don't tend to think that in order for them to reach those things that is just a fantasy in their head right now, they actually have to do the work. And not just do the work physically, but also doing a mental check, and a spiritual check, an emotional check, and all those checks. You gotta know who you really are. Who are you really? In the early stages of your life, the reason why there's some parts of you that you feel so guilty of having, maybe some traits of you that you don't want to involve yourself around anymore, but still you're doing it, is because you are programmed before. You are programmed in your identity that maybe it's in the environment that you have. A part of being adult, especially young adults like us, I'm about to be an adult for next few months in my life. I'm about to be 18. And the thing about healing and shifting your identity is that it will all depend on you. It will all depend on you. I certainly do not believe that there's gonna be a required ages for this in order for you to grow. But if you are turning into an adult and you feel like you have to be responsible in your life now, then you gotta change your identity. And me, a personal experience of me, when I was young, I am still rooting from this. Because a lot of people wants to change and wants to heal the parts of themselves, but they're not actually willing to take a look back on the early stages of their life that formed who they are right now. We are a child before. That's the thing. The wrong way of taking this in the adult stages of your life is to take revenge on the people that have hurt you. Because no no one understands you more than God, and no one understands you more than yourself, and you're still blaming people from the past experiences of your life that maybe they have moved on from it, and you're still hunting them in a way that you are hunting yourself. What I mean by this is that you having this fight in your head of what can you do to hurt them right now because of what they did to you. It's just a disguise of you not healing yourself and draining your own energy from the things that have hurt you before. Whether it's a person, whether it's a family member, whether it's a friend, or whether it's a toxic someone that you liked before, or someone that is in your relationship before, whoever that is, they don't care. They don't care. And I'm not saying this in a harsh way, but the amount of you caring about what you can give to them, even if it's hurt, even if it's pain, even if it's love, and the amount of times that you have taken a look at yourself and you see that, do I really deserve this? If I don't deserve it, then I need to move on from it. And if you take a look, the amount of what you're focusing on right now, you are still focusing on the things that will drain you at the end of the day. Whether you want to give something to them, whether it's love, whether you want to give something to them right now, whether it's hate, you're still draining your energy from them. Even if it's just in your mind. I learned this the hard way. And I know a lot of people are struggling from here. And I've seen people that I've hurt also that is still struggling from this pain. But we are an adult now. And even if you're not adult yet, you will still be a few steps ahead if you actually know who you are before you even turn an adult. Let's take a look at your childhood. But of course you are watching me right now, so let's take a look at my childhood in order for you to have a quick analogy of what am I trying to say to you right now. I grew up as a child. I didn't know what's happening. I didn't know that I was this in front of my family. To be honest, I was always perceived as someone rude, someone mean, and disrespectful to my family. Even when I was a kid, I remember they're saying to me that when I was a kid, I was so siga. Siga is you are always rude to everybody. And they told me that statement that I don't even remember because I was young. I was like 1 year old, 2 year old back then. I remember them saying to me that when I am 2 years old, when I'm 2 years old, or when I am 1 year old, I am always like to do things on my own terms. So I don't like to be bothered or to be disturbed at the things that I want to do. For example, I'm watching TV and they said that I am rude when I'm a siga. I am siga whenever there's a blackout and there's a little power outage because of me watching something in the TV. I was not so patient. I want it now, and if I want to control the remote all the time, and if I didn't control the remote, I would get so angry and so triggered and so mean. And that's all what I heard from my family when they tell stories about me of who I was back then when I was a child. So if this is my identity before I was even have my first memory, because to be honest, my first memory, I don't even remember those things. I am a child back then. I didn't know what's happening. I didn't know that I was rude. I didn't know that I was mean whenever I don't get whatever I want. But it still triggered me to the point that it's still my identity right now. Why? Because when I was 4, when I was 5, I remember them. They always told me that I am always the one who's starting fights. I am always the one being disrespectful. And I was always the one being rude. Honestly, when I was a child, I would just get more angry whenever they said that to me. And I feel like it triggered me to the point that it's just been a program into my mind, because when you were a child, that is where you program most things. That's where they programmed your identity the most, that it can change the whole trajectory of your childhood. So when you said to someone that even if she's just a child, if she's just so quiet and she's just so shy, if it's your child or whoever part of your family is, they're gonna grow like that. You know why? Because you just programmed their brain from time to time, from they were 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to teenagers, that they've been like that since from the beginning. And when we were a child, we don't know that these things are happening. We don't know how to cope up with it because we are a child. We have no idea how to regulate our emotions. We have no idea how to fight back on people saying some rude things to us. Oh, we gotta do it. All we have is just be triggered on them and act on them in our instinct of how can you cope up. What is your coping mechanism when people said bad stuff to you, or people did mean things to you, whether it's your environment, family, friends? You are just figuring out who you are as well. And if they said that you're so mean, you're so like that, you will literally grow up like that. So I have this identity in my family that I was disrespectful, I was thought disrespectful in a way that I'm trying to observe myself right now, and how am I having these instincts of how can I respond to these people saying rude comments to me, and how I think when I was young. And the reason why I'm like that, I just figure out right now, or maybe it's previous stages of my life, I just figure out that whenever someone is rude to me, I don't actually tend to be mean to them. It's just that I have this wide perspective range of perception in myself that why can't they just be nice? There is a lot of things you can say to people, even if it's your child, even if it's your friend, even if it's your relationship or whoever that is. You have this wide range of adjectives that you can actually tell to them to form something in their mind, and you're not being articulate on how, sorry, there's an ad. You're not being articulate of how they are having this point of view in their life. That's why, okay, I want to give an example of this because I feel like I cannot explain it well. Let's say someone is being mean right now, but your only adjective that you can describe to that person is just, she's just so mean. But the thing is, maybe she was not just mean. Maybe she has this survival instinct of being defensive because she grew up in an environment where she doesn't get understand more. So that will change the whole trajectory of their identity if you actually try to tell them whether they're mean or whether they're like that. I love how optimistic I am with this because I just figured this right now. So whenever you take a look around at the things that have happened before when I was a child, because they said I was always picking up fights, I was always mean, I was always rude, and it became my identity, and I'm always praying to like, God, am I really like this? And even now, they still talk to me like that. Whenever I said something, a new perspective or a wide range of perspective that that the cognitive functions in my brain is just trying to tell me, because I am more observant of things. I am more articulate of what I'm saying. I am more observant on the psychological behaviors of people. That's why I tend to know who they are. And then I became defensive to the point that my family were just always saying that, oh, she's just rude, she's just mean. But then I'm just observant. I'm just observant. Even when I was young, I'm always questioning why people have to hate. I am always questioning why people have to hate. So maybe it became my defense mechanism that because I was young, whenever they're rude to me, I need to get rude of them. I have to be rude at them too. Whenever I don't get something, I feel like I have to be impatient. Because it was just chaos. When I was young, I didn't know what chaos is. When I was 9 months old, I only knew chaos when I observed it to people. When I observed to people how they're being chaotic in life, that's where I learned how to be chaotic in life as well. That's why environment is so important. And when you are an adult and you know you are accountable for changing those things in your life, that's where you shift. Do you get my point? I think you get me. So let's still take a look at myself when I was young, and even right now. When someone's rude right now, even if it's not for me, they're just being rude to a person, I always tend to take a look at why are they like that? Wait, why are they that way? Why are they just like that? I've seen myself observing when I was young. Still remember in the back of my mind, they said, I always wonder why people are rude. I always wonder why are they so mean. And then I take a look at how my brain works. From just like a minute, I already know what their struggles is. I already know what their weaknesses are. I already know what they're struggling at from they were a child. Maybe they didn't have this, maybe they didn't have that, maybe something happened to them. A lot of people resonated with being an empath. But me, I wasn't using myself as being an empath whenever I'm like that. I just see that, oh, it's an advantage for me to know these things because I get to tell it to them in the future. I get to roast them for who they are in the future. And that's what I see for myself when I was young. And then whenever we have a fight, maybe it's a part of my family or something, I pick on the cues of why she or he is like that before when I observe that she's being mean or she's being rude to someone. And then when she's actually being mean to me, saying that, oh, this is your repeated pattern ever since you were fighting, you were being rude to everybody else. This is who you are. This is what happened to you before. And then they just got shocked and then they always gotta say that, you are so mean, you are so disrespectful, you are so rude. I was a child. I didn't know what I was doing, but it was wrong. It is so wrong. I know it's wrong right now. Even right now, I know that it's wrong. I feel guilty for it. But then, I take a look at the cues of how am I observing people whenever their emotions are really triggered. And that's where I formed my emotional intelligence. Because when my age increased and increased more, I began to take a look of myself and see that I've been observing myself as that is always just being observant of their psychological behavior. So maybe right now I know how to say it to them without being rude. And that's where I learned how to teach and be an empath to people. But here's the catch. Whenever I talk to strangers about the things that they are struggling with their life, especially when they're mean, when they're that, and then I had a chance to talk to them. From when I was young, that I was so observant and knowing their psychological behaviors or their psychological triggers whenever they are like that, I began to see myself that whenever I see someone having that same psychological behavior or having that emotional triggers in their head, I already know how to pick on it. And I will not be rude to them or mean to them. When I was a teenager, I'm still teen right now. But anyways, when I was 13, 14, 15, I began to see myself as someone that, okay, you know what? Instead of me being rude to them whenever I saw these patterns onto them, I will tell it to them and try to heal or try to fix or try to let them understand what is currently happening in them. Because maybe they don't have that gift. Maybe they didn't manage to form the empathic behavior, the trait of being observant at these cues on their life. So maybe I can tell them. That's why I have this mission to tell people that a lot of people are just considering me as their therapist. And a lot of people are, when they see me, they know that what we're going to talk about is serious things in life. What do you want to achieve? What are you healing for? What is your identity? Like, I'm not really, don't want to resonate myself talking to someone to nonsense conversations. I don't really want to try to, even just, catching up, like having a vibe is good. But if I am getting closer and closer to someone, all they're gonna hear from me is that learn knowledge. Because I was also in different environments. So a lot of people from my past places, when I was young, I was in the province before. They don't know who I am. That formed, and that place was the one that formed my upbringing into being rude whenever I have these triggers in myself. So those people around me when I was young doesn't know the current version of me right now, even if it's the closest person in my life. Because I was just always changing environments. I don't stay on a permanent address, even when I was a baby. I always moving to city and to province, and now I'm living in a country alone. So I had more time to understand myself and to observe different environments and different types of people, that I just had this flexibility on having to talk with them in a nice way. And that's why a lot of people are, even if they first met me, they gotta tell me their stories about their life and their backgrounds. And I take nothing from it. I genuinely help you, but at the same time, I will forget it. I will not put it against you. I will just help you this time, because next day I'm already leaving. I'm already in a different place. I'm already in a different city. So that's just how been what my life is since I was young. So I learned how to talk with people in a way that it can have an amazing experience on them. Wow, she knows people. She knows people. She knows how to talk. But it is a different issue in my family. You know why? Because The way they programmed me from the beginning of my identity when I was a child is still the one that they are trying to tell to me, that they're trying to convince me that I am still I am still that kind of version, even if I move to a different country, even if I move to a different city. That's why whenever I go back to them, maybe I have a vacation, whenever there's a fight, and whenever I'm trying to know the psychological behaviors of them when someone is fighting, someone is being chaotic. I try to help them in a way that maybe you don't get to do that when you were a child. Maybe you have these past wounds in yourself that you haven't healed from. And then all of a sudden, because they still see me as the one when I was a child that is just so mean, that's just so disrespectful, that's just so rude. They tend to see me as someone being rude. They tend to see me as someone being disrespectful because I see the way who they are right now. And that is a trigger for me that whenever they say that to me when I was a child, I was so triggered by that statement that they said that I was rude. They said I was disrespectful. So I tend to be disrespectful from that time again. I've said to myself that, oh my gosh, I don't want this kind of environment in my life. You still don't know me. Even if you were like, even if your majority of your life, you are with me. Because I am now a different person. I am now a different kind of, I have the software update in my brain, in the processor of my brain. And then I get triggered whenever they try to go back with it. Oh, you're just being disrespectful from you were a child. You were young. You were so mean that time, and you're still so being rude right now. And I just get so triggered that, oh my gosh, I cannot be in this environment anymore. I feel like I've grown so much of my life from the past versions of myself that they still know about me. That's why I created this channel, for me to help actually people that are willing to know who they are, to shift their identity before I even try to talk it with the people that doesn't even want to change themselves. I was just like so tired of like having this environment around me and always talking about mindset hacks, always talking about self-love, always talking about self-respect and boundaries. And then I tend to be the one who's an evil one from me saying those things because they don't want to change it to themselves. That's why I formed this, you know what, I'm gonna vlog, you know what, I'm gonna have this YouTube channel that I can freely express myself to the point that I can help people. Because that's all I want to do. Since I was young, I just have this observant personality in myself that I've seen something that is wrong here, so I want to try to fix it. I say, what, I'm being optimistic. Okay, what's possible for me to fix it? I don't want to stay stagnant on just keep blaming them, or just keep blaming me from what happened from years ago. I just want to change it, and I just want to move on and want to continue further in my life. And that's what I want to do in your life as well. Yeah, pain changes you, and it should change you in a way that you will improve your life better. You will not turn into this villain monster that will just gonna drain your energy out of you. It's because you're not trying to love yourself, but you're trying to be mean on everybody. Because I've been in there when I was 12, 11. But the thing is, I've matured so advanced. I've matured so early. So if there is no one that's gonna be a representative as a 17-year-old that is healed from these things, that shifts their identity from these things, then I gotta be the one volunteering it for the people that wants to change themselves before they turn 18. So it was your childhood all along. Because when you were a child, all you need is to be loved. And I'm not saying that your family or your friends or whatever who's an adult in your life didn't love you. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. But most of the time they do. But when you are built different, when you know something in you is just different from these people that you've grown up with, then you have to be accountable on healing those and try to stop it to the next generation that can be a victim of this again. Sorry. That's why people break generational cycles. That's why people break generational curses. And I think it's not something to be ashamed of saying. Especially we grew up in a past generation where those things don't exist in their heads. That's why I believe that being mean and being rude is normal to the past generations. Especially when it comes to parenting. And not just being physically abusive, even verbally abusive. They just don't know how to talk it in a way that can communicate that they can communicate in a child maturely. So I said that no, I don't want this. And I want to be accountable of me healing myself. That's why I'm sharing this to people. And that's why success will come. You know why? Because you turned your pain into power. And that's where you have this identity shift. And that's when you know the root of your identity, that you don't want to be that identity that they built around you when you were a child. Once you take a look that, oh my gosh, I'm gonna one who's gonna fix this, not them. I'm not gonna blame everybody else in my life. I'm not gonna take revenge on them, but I'm gonna heal this. That's where you can actually heal and have the identity shift in order for you to do what's next. And you can help people to do the same. What's the next mission in my life? Okay, know my purpose. What is the one thing that I really like to do when I was a child and right now? What is the thing that I'm really just, if I do it for free, it's nice. I love it. And me, I love teaching psychology a lot. I love psychology. I love self-improvement. I love mindset habits. I love discipline. I love being having a healthy and improve your mind. That's what I love from the beginning. Since when I was a child, I was always wondering, why are people like this? Why are people like that? And then when I was getting older and older, I'm always watching self-improvement videos on the YouTube, reading books, listening to podcasts. That's what been my cycle is. Because I want to change my identity. Because when I was young, I was always called as someone who is so rude and so talkative and so disrespectful, when all I am is just being an advocate and being articulate on what can I say to people. Especially if I know that something is lacking from this. Okay, this has a little problem from here. There might be a need of fix from this thing that you are struggling with. And when I was young, I tend to pick up those people that doesn't want to change those things around them. I just want to tell, oh, what's happening to you? This is why, because this, and they don't want to listen to me. But now, I'm turning an adult. I'm almost an adult. I don't want to waste my time. So, you know what? I've said to myself that right now, I know how to try to help people in knowing who they are and having this identity shift that has built from them since they were young. I know how to fix this because I fixed this myself. So, if these people wants I help and is willing to change this about themselves, then I will help them. And if they don't want, I will not talk to them. This is why time is important. Valuable. It is so valuable because you cannot waste your time from people, from things that will not even benefit you at all. Especially if it's gonna make you a negative in your life. What do I mean by this? Someone doesn't want to talk about self-improvement, don't talk about it. Don't even try to help them because they're not willing to listen. You cannot change people. The only thing you can change is yourself. If they're still rude right now, but you know in yourself that you want to heal and you want to shift your identity and you've healed yourself and you shift your identity and they're still being rude, you don't need to have the energy to try to talk to them and try to be an empath on them. Because they don't want to change, baby. And you want to change. You want to change? Or you don't? The reason why you're still watching this right now is because you want to change your life. You want to improve your mindset. You want to improve how you can operate in this world so that you can have the mission to also help people. That's why people are unhappy. People are unhappy because they don't know who they are. They don't want to change it. They don't want to have a shift on their identity. And they have this big ego that this is just who I am. You've been programmed to be like that. You can change your identity just now. You can change it. And that's why you are being selfish and you're being insecure and you don't want to help people. It's because you can't even help yourself. And let's do it vice versa. Let's do it vice versa. You cannot help yourself. Yes, why? You cannot help yourself because you're not taking a look at the perception of a person that helps people. You don't want to be like that. And that's why you are stuck. Because in this world, God, no man is an island. God did not intend us to be stuck and stagnant in our identity, from our past identity. He wants us to heal. He wants us to help. That's our mission, why we are here on this earth. The thing is, we've had some previous experiences that came from evil, that has just been rooted from us. But when you just put your faith into Jesus, and you just said to Him and you prayed to Him that God heal this from me, please, you will see God is gonna make way. God is gonna make way. That's why faith is important. Faith generally is important. If you don't have faith on yourself as well, you will not succeed. Oh, I love self-improvement so much. I love self-improvement. I can talk about this all day from people that wants to learn. And I want to have this mission. I want to help people. And I also know my time. I also know how valuable my time is. That's why I don't just want to help random people. I want to help and connect with people that wants to change their past identity, that maybe they don't want to resonate themselves anymore. I'm turning my pain into power so I can give love, I can give support, I can give advices. That's all I want since the beginning. That's what I've been trying to tell my family since the beginning. That's what I've been trying to tell my friends since the beginning. And if they don't want to listen, fine. It's okay. I'm gonna try to talk with people that wants to listen, that is willing to have an open mind and is willing to change. Remember, baby, your identity before is not an indicator for you to not change your identity right now. You can always change. I was in different environments. I have an experience of changing my identity to different types of people. And you know what? All I observed, a common denominator of everything is just, I want to help. I was not being rude. I was not being mean. I've already shifted that identity, removed that identity that they've programmed me since I was young. I already removed that because my identity is in Christ now. So God gave me already an authority to help. To help. Because He's been trying to heal me from this point in my life. And that's why God never really left you. You're the one who's shifting away because God just wants to heal that from yourself so that you will be purposeful in His kingdom. That's why revenge, being mean, is not a solution. It's a false narrative of success. You will not success on being a villain. No, not at all. You will just keep coming back from the pain because you will blame other people. That's why you became a villain. Does it help? No. And that's what I want right now. That's what I've been trying to help people with. I don't want you to turn into villains, and not because I just don't want you, because it's not healthy for you. You're gonna leave this earth. You'll have full regrets in your life if you're just being so mean and you don't want to change who you are. That's why change is important, baby. Change is important. So I'm hosting a one-on-one sessions to people that really wants to change themselves. No matter what that is, your identity, what's happening in your life right now, we can talk. I can give you advices. I can listen to you. I will listen to you. Why not? What has been the thing that you've been struggling? It will be a transformation once you try to talk it out with people, with me. What's that thing? We will talk. So if you're willing, and I will not waste my time. I will not waste my time if you don't want. But if you're willing, you can reach out to me. I feel like I don't want to be stuck in my life anymore. I've been dealing with this. Even me, I'm dealing with this for the past experiences of my life. And I always try to water people that doesn't want to water themselves. That's why I want to water people that wants to help themselves. That we can create a community and a helping community for each other. So that's all I want to do in my life. I want to make my life purposeful as possible. I don't care about how much money I can get. All I want is to help. But in order for me to keep the sake of my boundaries, I will be selective on helping.